how to date an old beer can if you find one. And people do find them. They're in old barns, in the walls of houses. I wanted to explain how to date a really old beer can. And there's a lot of stuff available online. The Beer Can Collectors of America did an excellent job of how to try to figure out how old your beer can is. But a lot of times you're just curious because you can see a cone top, a flat top, both of them made the 1930s, but how old is that can actually? And there's a lot of different ways of telling exactly how old that can is. But I'll show you one quick way of at least narrowing it down between 1935 and 1950. One thing for sure, and here we go. Hey, Kev with Kevs Can Cave. Wanted to show you today how to date some really old cans if they're not marked or anything. There's ways of doing it, and one of the ways is actually seeing who made the can and the wording behind that. And the Beer Can Collectors of America has all that online or in a book, and just a simple change in like others pending instead of patent pending can date the beer can. Sometimes you'll see an actual date on it, like this one of 1936. And that gets you in the ballpark because they might have used that copyright for a few years. For example, Schlitz used a copyright from 1949 to 1955. So even though you're sitting there drinking a beer in 1954, that can could be 1949 or it could be 1954. I mean, you don't really know, but it's, 5 years is a pretty good indicator. Some of the beer cans had instructions on them on how to use a church key, and church keys were used like this, one to drink out of and one for an air vent, or as many as you actually wanted to put in it. But the biggest thing on cans made between 1935 and 1950, one thing that will most likely always be on there is this wording: Internal Revenue Tax Paid. IRTP might be abbreviated, but an Internal Revenue Tax Paid on all cans made. Here's one out of Seattle between 1935 and 1950. And it might be left over on some cans from 1952, but it's just a quick way of identifying how old this can is. Sometimes you can go by when the beer company was actually in operation, because after Prohibition, 500 of the 750 breweries pre-Prohibition reopened. So there you lost a couple hundred of them right there. So sometimes you can just date by the fact that the company's open or closed. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting. Thought I'd pass that on. There's a lot of stuff to it, but it's not that hard if you got a cheat sheet. So anyway, Kevs Can Cave, sub if you want. Would like to have you join me. Means a lot to me, all my subscribers. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.